Hey guys, I got some suggestions to bring this topic over to your random Dead Mall subreddit, so here it is. I don't know anything about you guys. I just gave in to peer pressure. Okay, here's what I originally wrote from here out. So I woke up to over 100 new comments to read through. Guess you never know what might go viral. I can't believe that a few of you actually want to donate or buy me some IR cameras. It's a little amazing how many people are getting invested in this. I was going to wait and post again in the afternoon after something presumably happened tonight, but it's now 4 in the morning out here and it's been quiet for a change. Maybe the cops spooked the intruders. They might have left altogether or could just be lying low. I don't know. I know all of you probably want it to be the latter, so the drama porn train can keep rolling. Choo-choo. I did get a wireless camera kit before work tonight and set up 6 of them across the building in good hiding spots where there's no existing coverage. I also aimed a few of them at the areas where I tend to find trash or torn open boxes with stuff missing. I don't think I'll catch anything tonight, though. It's dead here. But now that I'm spending the last couple of hours before the morning shift starts by tapping out a post on my phone, I might as well talk about a few developments worth a mention. The evening shift here overlaps with my solo work a little bit while I get settled in and helps with closing, so I can chat with a few of my former co-workers and get up to date on recent happenings. News about the blood and police being called out here has spread, and while I don't have much to add, I did get to hear about just how unsettling some of the workers found the whole thing. Big conversation starter all day, apparently. But also, not the first time something bizarre had gone on at this place. There have been years worth of weird stories that started long before the warehouse was built. At first, all I was wondering about is why this is the first time I'm hearing about it. I love urban legends and local rumors about the dark and depraved. They could have kept me entertained while I was sorting and packing. The story about the area goes way back, one of the older employees interjected, after overhearing me asking about it. I'm paraphrasing here, but he said something like, before the mall, there were these old steelworks that were said to be haunted since the 30s. Before that, it was something with the farms, and before that, history gets murky, but the local settlers refused to build anything important out here, even after they drove away the natives. I reacted by asking, there was a mall here? Why am I just now hearing about this? I'm not a big fan of the places, and I don't really get the nostalgia of them. It was called Sleepy Pines, he said, and now didn't seem so eager to give me the details. He headed off and clocked out. I had a dreaded meeting with my boss to get to, but still had a little time to hear about this mall from the others. Before I could get more info, they shifted the subject to a more interesting and relevant topic. Did you hear that Greg hasn't come in the last few days? You think it has something to do with someone being stabbed here? Guy was always kind of weird. Better chance he did the stabbing over being the victim. He disappeared? I exclaimed, too loudly. I guess I made it awkward. I didn't say that, but maybe he did. Not like any of us have his number, or would call him if we did. Hey, if he really does never show up again, do you think you'll ask for your old job back? I wasn't sure yet. I was still processing. I didn't like the guy, but I wasn't going to wish that he actually got hurt just so I could go back to working on day shift. Thankfully, my boss wasn't pissed off. She was mostly just glad that I did my job without putting myself at risk. It was nice, and a little bit surprising. It was nice not to have to report to a total power-tripping asshole for a change. Shocker, turns out my position has a high turnover rate. The weekend shift is generally fine for the part-timers that take it, but the weeknights seem to take a toll on whoever's on guard duty, to the point where it's difficult to simply get 2 people here at the same time, explaining why I'm usually running solo. It's the little instances that build up over the week, she exclaimed to me. There are people in town who had the job and still talk about things they've experienced. The police have been out here over a dozen times throughout the years, though none of our team members have actually been hurt. It's all paranoia. I don't know how to describe it. Sounds, mild hallucinations, and on occasion, something real like a skittish intruder or a malfunctioning equipment. The men around here just aren't as tough as they used to be, I guess. Great. My job slowly drives people insane, or stresses out others enough into quitting before they reach that point. I'm not one for nightlife or hanging around bars, so I don't have much exposure to any circulating ex-employee stories in the nearest small town, which is about 20 minutes away. Whatever. If Greg doesn't show up for another week, I should be able to leave the night watch behind before I see anything really messed up. Alright, dawn's breaking and another shift is about over. I need to collect my cameras. I'll look through the footage tomorrow, which is Saturday, since I'm not working. I wake up around 3 in the afternoon, EST, and will reply to any big questions or comments before skimming the readings. The next post is made at 4:06 p.m. Wow. Sorry, I'm a little late, but I just spent the last hour replying to a bombardment of DMs about Sleepy Pines. Guys, I'm not terminally online, and I don't do much research before settling into a new area. Remember, I had no idea there used to be a mall out here until like 18 hours ago. I wouldn't know that it was cursed, haunted, or a corruption in reality, or whatever was wrong with it. I got messages from about 30 people while I was asleep, telling me how dangerous Sleepy Pines was, and how the land itself may still be screwed up. You can stop. I'm in the loop. Maybe not yet as deep into it as the fan club, but I get it. Disappearances, cults, capitalistic pagan rituals, blah blah blah. Neat stuff. I'd be the smart character in the horror movie who leaves the hellhole the first chance they get, but I spent most of my money getting out here and need some time to recoup first before packing up again. But, fine. I'll look into the stories today. Just stop digitally shouting at me about totems and the couple that went missing. Give me time to sort out the lore myself, which it looks like I have to do the old search engine way. Why isn't there a wiki for Sleepy Pines if it's gotten so infamous? Someone get on that. I plan to be back later tonight. The follow-up post, made around midnight. Hey everybody, I lost track of time. Found myself excavating the rabbit hole more than I expected to. Don't worry, I still got around to doing my homework. I played the footage from my cams in a small window in the corner of my screen at 2x speed while I researched. I'll get to that. It took a single night to just about make me a true believer in the insane cult shit you guys dumped into my lap. After I read the 2 central stories about the mall, I tracked down other counts made in response. No experience comes close to matching the really out-there stories of Mike, Jenna, and the girl who visited in the 90s and nearly got sacrificed by self-hating rich freaks in animal masks. But I still really got into all the glitch in the matrix observations from others too. The vast majority of days, the place seemed to operate normally, but there was that 1% of visits where something inexplicably happened with the staff, or a strange anomaly was seen in the corner of a shopper's eye. And it's obvious when I'm reading a troll post or a fan fiction, since they play up the horror and dark, unknown aspects too hard. Not to mention all the times rumors recirculate about Mike and Jenna's GoPro footage existing on some obscure website, and people claiming to have seen it. The guy that found their camera hasn't uploaded it. Best we can hope for is a high-budget recreation. If you want to see it, find an abandoned mall and make the movie yourself. Now that I should be as up to speed as the rest of you and respect your efforts and devotion, I'll give you an update. It's crazy that I'm now involved in this story when only a few days ago I was a total outsider with no knowledge of Sleepy Pines or Perfume Lady and or all the rest. I admit, it got its claws in me. As for the footage from my own camera, there isn't much. sorry to report. I know it sucks to be disappointed, but I'm doing what I can, and I'll keep pursuing this with newfound seriousness. Across 8 hours of video from each of my 6 cameras, there was only a single noteworthy occurrence. At about 2 in the morning last night, I caught in the upper half of one of the recordings a moving blur of someone running. Yeah, I have footage of a pair of legs sprinting in the distance, about 3 seconds worth. It's not worth sharing, but I think it confirms that at least one of the trespassers, if there are multiples, is still lurking in the building. Also, to the member who was nice enough to order me the IR camera set and paid for rush delivery, it's looking like they might arrive Monday before I go to work. So maybe an interesting update is on the way Tuesday morning. Lastly, and it's not like it's been a problem yet, but I figured I'd go ahead of it. Please don't come to the warehouse and try to access just because you got a guy on the inside working here. I don't need the trouble, and to be honest, I don't really want to hang out with any of you in person. For me, there's nothing more socially cringy than meeting someone you only talk to online. I'm a professional. Let me handle this. Thanks in advance. Following a quick update on Monday confirming the delivery of the cameras, the original poster returns on Tuesday in the afternoon for an eagerly awaited catch-up. The thread has been buzzing with activity since the morning. Let's get to it. I set up 4 infrared cams along with 6 normals again last night. I'll spoil it right away by telling you I didn't catch a hair of our interloper. They've been quiet recently. However, I still have a new discovery I want to talk about that I don't know how to explain. Remember our black mold problem that comes and goes? Well, along with the IR cameras, I also got a lens attachment for my phone so I can look for heat signatures on my patrol. Now here's the thing. While messing around with it last night, I picked up a glob that was a few degrees warmer than the surrounding environment. I moved a few boxes to investigate, and it turned out that there was a large patch of the black stuff on one wall. I hate mold, so I've never touched it and wouldn't have known to. It's warm for some reason. Is that normal? I get that it's alive, but still, that is strange, isn't it? It was also the biggest colony I've ever seen, and I've already scheduled another visit from the cleaning crew. The building is supposed to be getting HVAC work done to hopefully help with the problem, but those guys are booked up. I don't know why, but we definitely need a new air system. The mold is nasty. While I was looking at it, this dull red glob of heat on my phone, I noticed flecks of a mass breaking off and floating into the air. Large flakes settling into places to join the colony. Goddamn gross. I hate to think I'm breathing that in. But it gets worse. I lowered the range of the infrared display to see the more subtle fluctuations in temperature. The whole screen lit up. There are specks of this warm mold drifting everywhere, looking like snow flurries or irradiated dust. What the hell is wrong with this building? This can't be happening only at night. I'm going to start wearing a mask to work, but I'm hesitant to tell others to do the same, at least before I bring this up to the manager. I don't want to cause some sort of panic. This isn't normal, right? To have mold spores a couple of degrees warmer than the air floating throughout the building. I mean, I guess I could be looking at harmless dust particles, but that doesn't explain why they're warm. Or do tiny airborne things just show up like that, and I'm freaking out over nothing? I only have one more announcement today. If Craig doesn't show up in the next few days, we'll consider his position vacated. And guess whose job it is to clear out his locker? As long as what's inside isn't something I need to report to the police first, like, say, a dead body, then that could make for a good update. Don't get your hopes too high, but given how strange he was, I figure there has to be something weird in there. 2 days later. Guys, what the hell? You're the only reason I'm even still working in this building as of this moment, since I have a crippling fear of disappointing a horde of people on the internet I'll never meet in person. Last night, I discovered that 4 of the warehouse cameras had been tampered with. It's strange, their time and date still ticks to hide the fact that they actually froze, but when I'm glancing around every 30 seconds, it's not like I'd really notice, a glitch? Or some kind of corporate espionage, maybe. I'm not sure. My boss is looking into it. I can't say when this started. Me finding out was more of a fluke than anything. These 4 cameras are pointed at low traffic areas towards the back of the building, and don't monitor much shelved inventory. We got 1 aimed at an emergency exit, 2 covering what's basically a utility corridor, where things like circuit breakers, climate controls, and janitor's closets are. And then 1 more, looking at a rolling shutter loading door, and just the corner of a gardening supply shelf. On the night of my discovery, I mapped out their coverage areas and realized that their outages meant that we had no eyes on a pathway from a never-used door to a loading and stock area with access to a building system on the way. It's possible someone could have been sneaking out or in by using the blind spot for months, maybe even years. It's certainly a security gap, and it's hard to believe I'm the only one that's caught it. How I did so isn't all that interesting, but I know some of you are curious. Just after officially closing, someone rammed a gardening shelf with a forklift, knocking down several heavy bags of potting soil. There wasn't time to clean it up the night of, and I wasn't expecting to do it alone, so someone would have to handle it first thing in the morning. At about 11, an hour and a half into my shift, I was mindlessly checking the cameras like I do countless times a night, and it jumped out at me. Right where there was supposed to be a broken open bag of dirt, on the feed with the corner of a shelf, I see nothing out of the ordinary. No mess at all. At first, I'm thinking maybe someone went ahead and cleaned up before heading out. It's not like it's urgent enough to go investigate right away, but when I'm doing my first walkthrough at midnight, I go back there. It's as far from my security room as possible, and see that the soil is on the floor, which is weird. I return to my chair, and now the camera's showing the spill. But I know what I saw, and I don't often second-guess myself. I rewind, and the spot becomes less clear again. Then, right as the timestamp clock hits 12 with 4 zeros, the bags are on the floor like they're supposed to be. My investigation was basic. We have safety cones that I knew would be easily visible on the monitor, so I spread them across the warehouse wherever cameras were pointing, and found the 4 feeds that didn't update to show them. After I marked the trouble cam and packed away the cones, I skimmed the recording in reverse. We keep 48 hours of video, so while I couldn't go back too far and deep dive, I felt confident I'd get an idea of what was happening. These cameras operate normally from 6 in the morning to 10 at night, capturing everything at 6 frames a second. But starting at 10, that becomes 1 frame every 2 hours, meaning the feed is a frozen snapshot that only refreshes 4 times throughout my night shift. The forklift accident happened a few minutes past closing, when someone was in a hurry to get it parked and headed home. The incident itself wouldn't have been captured. The cameras have now been taken down for a full investigation. I'm glad that my boss seems to be taking this seriously and like a true security concern. Seriously, something this specific can't just be an obscure malfunction, right? I have to think that the cameras were sabotaged directly, or the software that controls them was altered. I just can't wrap my head around why. The lapse could give a thief free rein for 2 hours, but only in a specific part of the warehouse that isn't even near valuable stuff. And if they were using an emergency door to get in and out, it should have been setting off an alarm. The rolling shutters could theoretically be opened, but even if I hadn't laid eyes on them, they're loud. I'd be able to hear them from across the building, And on top of this, we've only had the minor problem with missing inventory. Sorry to bore some of you with this menial but creepy-ass stuff, but I wanted to be detailed because I'd appreciate some input. Whatever ideas you've got, I'm all ears. Since we now have no footage of that blind spot at all until we get some new cameras, I know where I'll be putting my personal set. The next day. Nothing on my cameras from last night, but I'll keep at it. Not much else to say, but at this point, I want to keep you all in the loop day by day. Really, the only thing to mention this time is that I went to work a few hours early so I could talk with my boss about getting my old position back, what with Greg unlikely to return. Don't get discouraged. I plan to work the afternoon to closing shift, so I'll get to keep up to date with whoever takes my spot when we're in the building together for half an hour. I'll tell them about my investigation and let you guys know how it all plays out. I'm not doing anything amazing here or out of the ordinary. Might as well give them my cameras as well. Speaking of, I thought up a little present for everyone. As a thank you for the help before I'm done being a vampire again, how about a live stream tomorrow night? I'll give a tour of the warehouse and even open up Greg's locker. I hope you can appreciate the idea, since I've never done any sort of streaming before, and it's way outside my comfort zone. Also, aiming for no technical problems. The Wi-Fi is pretty good at work, but it's supposed to be storming tomorrow night, so who knows what might happen. Makes for a good ambience, I suppose. No, I wouldn't have even thought of doing this if I had a hard ass for a boss. I don't think I'll get in much trouble, even if she somehow finds out. One other bit of news, just worth a quick mention. When I was at work earlier to put in the request, I found out that the landowner was in the building. I asked some employees, and apparently he stops in about once a month, to look around. He's not otherwise involved with the company, as far as I know. I don't know, maybe it's nothing unusual and I'm just grasping for straws. It sounds like he was asking management about the security problems. I guess if people were getting hurt, breaking in, and stealing from his land, that's enough reason to poke around and find out what's going on. I wouldn't bring this up if it weren't for the fact that he put me really on edge. Maybe more so than Greg. The Shadowrunners here were chatting like they were old friends, but this guy, he's tall, with slick-backed hair, looks like he never smiles, and was overdressed in a dark business suit that could have come out of the 80s. Real Patrick Bateman energy. I get accused of exaggerating my first impressions, but I feel like I've always been sensitive to a person's vibe. His were way off. This place, I feel like it's trying to move on from a past that some might see as cursed or haunted. Yet it can't help attracting the strange ones. Alright, enough of that. To anyone who wants to stay up late with me, the stream begins at midnight tomorrow. Technically, as soon as we roll over to Saturday. Treat it like one of those ghost hunter shows. I'll probably start out with high hopes of seeing something scary, and then nothing will happen. Manage your expectations is what I'm saying. Either way, should be fun.
Good evening, everyone. It's me, Dr. Plague. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's show. If you think you might like a little more spooky in your life, then please feel free to click on one of the videos we have up here. Maybe look at one of the playlists if you're trying to get caught up. I know, there's so many videos on the channel. There's so many series that are going at the same time. Sometimes you just need a little refresher course, and I gotta say, I always enjoy the views. If you're not subscribed, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Maybe hit the bell so you don't miss anything. We upload a lot on this channel, so you won't want to miss a single story as they come out. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click on the Amazon link down there. There's quite a few books in my Amazon account. You can have a look, and if you'd like a signed copy, get up with me through email, and I'll be happy to work something out with you. Also, there's links to my Patreon, and you can become a member on the channel if you'd like your spooky a little bit early. Patrons and members on the $5 tier get their videos 12 hours early. That's in the morning as opposed to in the evening. Patrons at the $10 level also get a signed copy of my book anytime I write one. Speaking of my patrons, you should see them appearing right now. Just wanted to take a minute to say how much I appreciate all of you. Patrons, subscribers, however you give to the channel. I really appreciate everything you do, and it truly touches me that you have chosen to support the channel in this way. Well, that's enough for now. Till next time, Dr. Plague, signing off. Have a wonderful evening.